Good morning, everyone. I hope you are prepared with your group discussion. Are we prepared with the group discussion? A yes and no would help. I hope you remember that I had given you certain topics for group discussion, and we are supposed to do it in the next lab session. So it's okay if you have not prepared. You need to inform me. Just inform me whether you are prepared or not. No. Great. Fine. So, what we will do is we'll postpone group discussion to the next week labs, but I'll not postpone it further. If you don't do it in the next week lab, then we don't get chance for it. Okay. So for today's lab, what I'll do is I'll start with one more topic. Fine. I'll start with interview skills. And so we're beginning with the final topic for Unit 3. That's interview skills. Now, if you are having a closer look at the topics that have been given to us in Unit 3, they're not just interview or presentation, they're all have an additional word called skills. So, here, why do we have the additional word called skills? Now, you are into a program of graduation, right? You're taking a graduation program. So it is well understood that you are aware about the things that happen in an interview, things related to that particular word. Now, what are we trying to do over here? We are trying to help you enhance your skills. You already possess certain skills. What we are trying to do is we're trying to help you become better. Right? Whatever you know, how you can improvise. That is why everywhere, whenever you look at these words, if you're having a look at the words that are given to us, everywhere there's a mentioning of the word called skills. So skills over here, we're trying to mean that you already know the word, you already know what happens in that particular situation, in the given word situation. What we want to do here with you is we want you to enhance it, we want you to polish it further. So that's the basic understanding, and that's why we have words like skills added to the topics that we have. Let me tell you what are interview skills. What is an interview? Most of us are quite aware that interviews are meant for selecting an appropriate candidate for a job position or a job perspective. Right? But interviews could be of many different types. Let's say you can have interviews of well known people, you may have interviews of somebody in controversy, anything, right? They can be different interviews, but why over here we have used the word that the process for screening for a job application is, our concern is with the workplace interviews. Okay, we are concerned more with the workplace interviews. Now, why is it important as the very first step? Remember, most of the things that we are dealing with in relation to workplace, most of the things that we are dealing with in relation to workplace, it is actually not a one step process but three step processes, right? The way, let's say, we were talking about meetings, so meetings were also three step processes: the before part, the during part, and the after part. So the before part is the agenda, the during part is the meeting itself, and the after part is the minutes. Similarly, in an interview as well, this interview which comes, It would be in three different parts. The first part would be a written test. We all know. The second part is group discussion that we were supposed to do, but we'll be doing it later on. And the third part is where after two steps you are scrutinized, you have been tested, your skills have been watched into. Comes the third part, that's the PI, as we call it, or the personal interview. Now, why do I need to know somebody in a personal interview after scrutinizing the person on two different stages, the written stage as well as the group discussion stage or the oral stage? What happens is in personal interviews or in interviews, as we call it in common, you sit and discuss orally with three people or one person. So there could be a panel of three, or there could be one person who would be taking your interview. What happens is in group discussion, you are given a particular topic and you move in and around that topic. Whereas when you take personal interviews, they become more personalized, they become more customized. Why? They'll not be giving you any random topic. They'll be talking specific to your branch, specific to the needs of your particular position for which you are applying. Moreover, in group discussions, you have to select out of the 10 best. In personal interview, there is just one-to-one interaction. So maybe you might get a candidate might get a chance to hide or take support from the views of other people in group discussion, but that is not possible in the case of interview. So a more up close discussion with the candidate happens in the case of interviews. Now, what is an interview? A formal definition that is given to us is it's a formal meeting in which someone is asked questions in order to find out if they are suitable for a job or a course of study. Right? See, why a course of study? Because if you have idea about uh, getting yourself admitted into higher educational programs, by higher educational programs, I mean a master's degree or a doctorate degree. Now, in such cases, what so happens is instead of directly giving you an admission, they might hold an interview, an educational interview, right? So, how well do you perform, and are you actually edible? Sorry, are you actually eligible for that particular post or that particular position in that university? They'll try to check it. Okay. So that's why it's written for a job or a course of study. Now see, it's a formal meeting. You meet the person in a formal environment. Okay, that's why it's called a formal meeting over here. Next, the purpose. Remember, wherever we have anything related to workplace, be it a meeting or be it a agenda or a letter, anything that is there, we'll always look at the purpose. So how can we forget purpose over here, right? So what's the purpose of a interview? The purpose of an interview could be selection. Selection means selecting an appropriate candidate. The next purpose could be promotion. Now when you are promoted or when you are given a promotion in your organization, again they might take an interview. Now see, every interview will be different according to the purpose. Now if you are getting promoted, they'll not ask you what are your views about this or why are you willing to do a job with us. That's not the purpose. The purpose is promotion. So they'll try and talk about what kind of other research works can you do, what are the things you can contribute to your fraternity or your organization. Your fraternity or your organization, your fraternity means your area of study. What can you contribute more to computer engineering? What can you contribute more to particular company ABC, whatever the company is? Right, this is what they'll try and find out from you in case of promotion. Then performance appraisal means increase in the amount of salary in a particular time duration. They might take an interview, what work you have done, can you prove exactly that you were the one behind it, etc. Then You have exit opinions. Now you might not have an idea, but when you leave one job, right, when you jump from one job to another, for good or for any other reason, okay, for good or for any other reason, they would be taking your exit interviews. Now what is an exit interview? An exit interview is actually an interview taken so that the company can understand why a particular employee is leaving their job. You know, you when you leave a job and you skip it to some other company, the company in which you have been serving for quite a while, they would like to know why you are changing jobs. Remember, feedback. Here the company is actually trying to take a feedback from you, that where are the scopes, or which are the places in which the company can improvise, and other employees who join them would not leave for the same reason. Okay, they would not be leaving for the very same reason. So they take your exit opinions, or they term it as exit interviews. Then you have counseling interviews. Here I'll give you a very nice example of what our university has been doing with mentoring. You know, you all have been assigned a few mentors. You all have mentors, right? So what do? They counsel you. Your mentors would be counseling you. How do they counsel? They'll ask, how is the session going on? Are you facing any problems? No, how is your education going? Are there any problems in the subject? You're not finding things comfortable? How is your home doing, etc., etc.? Right, so those are known as the counseling interviews that you have. Now, the very first thing that comes to our mind when we give interview is, some of us become nervous. Some of us become nervous. We are not nervous because we don't have an idea about what is happening. We are nervous because we might be doing it for the very first time, or we don't have quite a good experience of doing it. So very first thing that we need to prepare ourselves for is overcoming the nervousness that comes along with the idea or the thought of giving an interview. Now, nervousness occurs because you are supposed to move out of your comfort zone. Some of us are quite friendly and we make friends easily, while others we take little time to make friends. Now, you actually do not know the person who's going to take the interview. So it means that you have to move out of your comfort zone. Now, moving out of the comfort zone is one problem that occurs. When you move out of the comfort zone, you do not know what kind of the person he or she is. When you will answer the question in a particular way, what will he or she think? And this is one of the major reasons why we become nervous. We become nervous due to the fear of the unknown. You don't know what is going to happen. You are uncertain about things, and that is why we become nervous. Now, what can we do in this case? And why are we talking about first nervousness and not any other thing? So, whenever there is a campus interview into our university, we'd like to get a feedback. As I said, any organization wants to improve. So, we also want to improve our rate of getting students placed. Right. So, what would we do? Whenever there is a campus interview, the teachers would always get a feedback from the particular company representative. That, can you please tell us which are the areas we need to work on? Right? We'll ask. We ask for betterment because we want other students to become better, or people not to have the same problem which one person has already faced. Right? Trying to make things more clear, etc. So now what happens is, most of them give us the review that language is not a problem, technical knowledge is not a problem, but there is some problem with nervousness. Students becomes little nervous. Yes, once he or she becomes comfortable, they're answering very well. But the initial hesitation that comes, it comes due to nervousness. Now, how do we come over or overcome this nervousness? So there are a few tricks that we can follow. One of them is known as the row boat technique. Row boat technique. Please mark this as an important term from the examination point of view in case of an MCQ. This question can be asked. Now, what is the robot technique to overcome nervousness? It is actually a breathing technique. Okay, breathing technique which will help you to relax. It is actually when you breathe in and breathe out, you also contract your stomach and expand it. Right? This technique, the name of the technique is not only useful for overcoming nervousness in terms of interviews, but also overcoming nervousness in terms of presentations, in terms of group discussion, etc. Everywhere you may use the same technique. Okay, everywhere you may be able to use the same technique. So remember the name, it is quite important. Make a note of it. Make a note of the name, row boat technique. It is a kind of a breathing technique that you can use to overcome nervousness. It is a kind of a breathing technique that you can use to overcome nervousness. Right? Some of us, we feel relaxed when you listen to some kind of a music, so you can do that. A glass of water would help so that your throat is not parched. By parched mean, you say your throat, it hurts when you speak, and you have this urgent desire to drink water. So do something that relaxes you. Remember, when you are giving an interview, consider that interview as an opportunity to showcase your skills. Also, you are not just there in the interview because of your resume. You have actually proved your skills in the written examination which is conducted, in the group discussion that was conducted, and you deserve to be there. Right? Keep that thought in mind that you have not been doing it directly. Nobody has recommended your name and you have been there in the interview. You are there because of the skills that you showcased in the first two steps. You cleared two steps, you can do the third step as well. Right? It should not be hard. Moreover, remember, neither you are in a hurry nor the interviewer is in a hurry to go anywhere. You have been allocated some time. You already have been allocated some time that they also know and you are also quite aware of, that the interviewers also know and you are also quite aware of. So please think before you answer. Think before you answer. Take a pause and answer after you have given it a quite a good thought. Now, when I say quite a good thought, does not mean you keep quiet for 10 minutes. In the interview, it's a little faster process. So 30 seconds, 45 seconds is what you can think about, and then you can give your answers to the interviewer. Now you will say, ma'am, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, don't you think that's too less? So let me give you a very simple example of what happens is when you introduce yourself, when you make your own introduction, you hardly take 30 to 45 seconds. You hardly take 30 to 45 seconds to make your own introduction. So I think 30 to 45 seconds is the absolute time which you can take for thinking and then you can speak. Now, see, most of us would be thinking, why 30, 45? It's too much. When we speak at least 1 minute, we would be speaking. So, I'd ask you to do one thing. You may record your introduction and see how much time you are speaking. It will actually, see, I'm not trying to prove that I'm right and you are wrong. What I'm trying to help you with is you'll have a good idea of how much time is required when. When somebody tells us that for introduction, they are giving 2 minutes. Now, out of 2 minutes, if I speak 1.5 minutes, it should be fine. But if I speak only 30 seconds or 45 seconds, it's not fine. So when you record yourself, you actually have a very good idea of how much time does it take. How much time does it take to introduce yourself? In that way, what will happen is it will help you prepare for your interview. How? You exactly know approximately how much time takes for which question that you are answering. So you may formulate your answer in such a manner when you are preparing. See, they're not going to say tomorrow or after 5 minutes. I cannot say that after 5 minutes it's your interview. They inform you well beforehand so that you can prepare for it. So what kind of preparations can we do? This is one of the kind of preparation that we can do. We can actually have a look by recording our answers at how much time do we take in case of answering a particular question. How much time do we take in case when we are answering a particular question? It will give you a fairly good idea of how much time 15 minutes exactly is. Right? We have never measured time in that way, and that's why we feel okay, two less time or two more time. What will I say in 15 minutes? This entire idea of recording yourself would help a lot. Right? Next, there are four major types of job interviews. Please mark this as an important question from the examination point of view. Please mark this as an important question from the exam point of view, wherever you are keeping notes of it. Okay. There are four major types of interview, especially the job interview part. There are four major types. The first type is called the campus job interview or the campus interview. The second type is the on-site interview. The third is the telephone or the telephonic interview. And the fourth one is a video conference interview. Right? In the telephonic interview, it's obviously when you have one more type called the video conference interview. Telephonic means it's an audio call. You don't have a video. Now let's see each of them in detail. Now this question can be asked in two ways. If it's asked as a long question, you have to discuss all the four, or they can ask a short note on particular each one of them. So what is a campus interview? The interviews that are conducted in the campuses of colleges or universities, they are called the campus interview. Right? You have quite a good idea about it because you have seen people coming to our campus taking interviews, going back, etc. Now, usually what happens is the company advertises the position quite early, and they also give a date quite in advance to the students. As I said, they'll never tell you that tomorrow you have an interview or after 5 minutes you have an interview. Now, on arriving in the campus, they don't just start directly with the interviews. What they do is they'll be either conducting a pre-placement talk, where they'll be talking about their campus. They'll be talking about what they do in their organization and the things that happen in the organization, etc. And after that, they might tell you that now we'll have a group discussion, or the steps that they are going to do, or the steps that they are going to take while conducting the campus interview. Now, usually the campus interviews are quite brief and to the point. Now, why quite brief and to the point? Because I've already studied you when you were doing the group discussion. It would be always like that. Okay. So they are brief to the point and they work more smoothly. Moreover, when they come to a campus, they have to work according to the rules and regulations of the campus. Let's say our campus closes by 6. So at the most, they can have their interviews till 7. So they are actually in a fixed position of time, and they need to complete the interviews for a fixed number of students. Right? Let's say there are 50 students who are eligible for their interview. In a campus like ours, which is little large, let's say if there's a position for somebody related to computers, then for it would not be only for the computer engineering students. It would also be for or students of BCA, MCA would also become eligible to sit for that particular interview. What will happen is the number of student increases. It means the number of candidates who are eligible also increases because of the increase in the branch. Okay, because of the increase in the branch. Now, in that case, they have to give good opportunity and equal chance to every student, but they have a fixed amount of time. So they can come to the campus either for a day or two. They cannot be there for the whole week. That's why it becomes a little brief and to the point. Now, on site interview. Now, on site actually means you have to, it's not the company that comes to the campus, but it is the candidate who goes to the company. Right? So, these interviews are actually held in the premises of the company. Usually, the candidates are shortlisted based on their resumes. Remember, we have written cover letter and resume. You were asked to write resumes and cover letters. So in the cover letter, you might have mentioned that I saw the advertisement in the newspaper Times of India dated so and so. I saw it on a social media, or I was told through a friend, etc. Right. So from that resume that you send to the company, the candidates are shortlisted. Now what happens is, after that, the candidates are informed. Candidates are formally informed through an email or a message or a telephonic call that they have qualified, they have qualified for face to face interviews. Right, the candidate will be informed via some medium that you have qualified, and on so and so date you have an interview at our campus. And campus means at our office or at our organization, and this is the time for it. Now, campus interviews, we have read that they are quite short and to the point, but on site interviews, on the other side, they are quite detailed. Why? Because here the company is in charge, or the organization is in charge. How come they are in charge? See, they will decide which candidate and how many candidates to call on a particular day, because it's their own company, right? So they are in charge of the whole thing, they are in hold of everything. So they might split their interview over a period of 3-4 weeks, which is not possible in case of companies coming to the campus. They cannot, the same company cannot be there for 3-4 weeks, right? They have to work, they cannot have leaves of their work and try and find a candidate here. Here, when you are called on site, or a candidate, when he or she is called on site, what happens is, they work, they keep on working in their own premises along with taking interviews. So here they are in charge, and that is why they are more detailed than campus interviews. Now please mark this as an important MCQ question that can be asked, right? They may say that dash kind of interviews are more detailed than campus interviews, or on-site interviews are less detailed than campus interviews. Is the statement true or false? So on any kind of an MCQ can be formed over here, and this is really important, one of the most important differences between the campus interview and the on-site interview for giving a job. Now the third one is a telephonic interview. Some companies conduct interviews on telephone. Now you can also have mobile phones as an option, but telephonic interviews is what we call it. Now, what happens in a telephonic interviews, before just like the on-site interview, the candidates are shortlisted based on their resume, and they are again shortlisted by talking to them. Now, just directly don't call somebody. No, I'll not call, dial a number and say, so today I'm going to take your telephonic interview for the post that you had applied. What happens is, when you want to take a telephonic interview, first you need to talk to the person, thank the person to apply for the job, and then talk to him or her about his or her convenient time, convenient day and time for appearing for this interview. We do not know what somebody would be in the middle of at a particular time. Now, once you have this information, once you have this information, What do you do? Once you have this information, they would send an email to confirm the date and time of the interview, so that you know that this particular day and this particular time you are supposed to remain free, and you will receive a call from the company. After that, they would verify your resume with you by talking to you. Now, if you take telephonic interviews are shorter as compared to face interviews. Now, also mark this line as very important wherever you are taking notes, right? Now, by face to face interview, it means campus interviews as well as on site interviews, where you sit in front of somebody and give the interview, or where you sit in front of somebody and you take the interview. So, this could be a quite a tricky question to be asked. You know, telephonic interviews are shorter than campus interviews. Telephonic interviews are shorter than on site interviews, or telephonic interviews are shorter than campus and on-site interviews. Now, what? Why a confusion? Because here we have written the word face-to-face, which is a synonym for both the types. Remember, it is a synonym for both the types, and that is why there are chances. There are chances of confusion to be created over here with the use of synonymous words. Right, so please mark this important wherever you are taking notes. Mark this as an important MCQ question that can be asked. Next, video conferencing. Now, when does video conferencing happen? Video conferencing happens in case of multi national companies where you have branches. Why? See, it is a waste of time, energy, and resources. It is a waste of time, energy, and resources if somebody comes to take the interview for one or two people from some other part of the world to India. That is why they'll use this technology to take the interview. Usually, video conferencing interviews are taken for senior positions or senior posts. And so, senior posts, you will not have 100 positions at the same time. You'll have one, two, five at the maximum at a time. So, for five people, you don't travel, you don't waste the resources. Right? For five or six people, you don't travel or you don't waste the resources. What do? You do is you have a video conferencing, right, to save time, money, and energy. Video conferencing is similar to face interviews, but with a touch of technology. Now, this could also be a very important question. Remember the word face to face interview, right? They're trying to say campus interviews are, and as well as the on site interviews over here again. So, please also mark this as an important question because of the usage of the word face to face interviews. Okay, so these are the four types of interviews for which you get a job. Now, see, this is not the fifth type of job interview. This is an entire different kind of an interview, but it is closely related to workplace, and that is why we need to know about it. It is closely related to workplace. This is not the fifth type. Remember, media interviews are never meant for giving somebody a job. Media interviews are actually meant for enhancing your public relations, promoting your business, promoting policies, creating awareness, etc. Okay, so this is not a job interview type, but this is an interview which takes place to enhance your job skills, right? To enhance what is already established as a job, right? So this is the reason why we need to know media interviews as well. So what happens in media interviews is the media, by media I mean reporters, the media takes a prior appointment and they pre-schedule it and they work on it. I'll give you a very simple example. You might have heard of Aapki Adalat. It's a news. Uh, what do you say? It's a kind of a media interview. It's one kind of. Okay, it's not the only one, but it's a more little famous kind of a news uh, event that takes place. It's called Aapki Adalat, right? There you have, fixed question. It's quite to the point. The focus will be on the topic. There'll not be any distractions, etc. Now, what happens over here is when you're doing interviews for your job, it stays between you and the interviewer. When I say you, it means the interviewee and the interviewer. Whereas, whereas when you give a media interview, it is more public in nature. It is more public in nature. Why you'll be talking to people, right? People will be viewing you live. Now, what happens in the interview room? What happens in the interview room would stay between the interviewee and the interviewer. Until and unless the interviewee or the interviewer tells somebody, you don't know what happened, right? You don't have an idea of what things took place or what kind of talks did they have, etc. Whereas a media interview is meant for the public to know what is happening. Why this product? Now, why are they not giving this product? What is the replacement, etc. So you need to be really, really careful, formal, and you have to think and answer. Remember, because it is in front of the public, you cannot be having negation or negative energy in what you speak or negative words in what you speak. So what you should try to do is you should try to be assertive and try and create a positive environment in the media interview, right? This is very important. It is not a kind of a job interview, but it is related directly to your workplace, and that is why we are having an talk over it. So here's our reconnecting question. Telephonic interviews are more detailed than campus interviews. Telephonic interviews are more detailed than campus interviews. Is the statement true or false? Excellent, quick and correct answer. The statement is false. Telephonic interviews are shorter than campus interview. Remember, I told you this. This is a point where it gets a little confusing, right? Now let's move on. Preparing for an interview. So, how do you prepare? How do you prepare for an interview? So, first thing is you should know yourself. When I say know yourself, we don't talk about what is your name or what education you have, but your education in terms of how you relate it with the position for which you are applying. Your work experience, your abilities and skills. Now, see, I have mentioned something there which says that always be able to give examples. Always be able to give examples. It is like when you give examples, they are like, I hope everybody in our lab batch likes to watch television. By television, I mean the web series or the movie or some series that you watch. We like to watch television. I'll take an example from there. No, you don't like watching television? See, yes and no television. Oh, great. We don't like watching television. So, what do you like to do? You like to read books? You like to work on the computers, play games. Great. No to playing anything. Work on the computer? Okay. Working on the computer, I take as A yes from everybody, because two yeses have come. So working on computer. Gaurav, only for work. Okay, good, fine. So why am I asking this question? Because I want to give you an example. Right? Why do we need to have an example to support your education or to support your skills? See, what happens is when you are working on the computer, if you remember the times when you used to work on those desktops, very slowly the cursor will blink, and god save you if the computer hangs. It might hang in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes or more. God save you, your work is all there, and it's like that. Those days when there were not much graphics available, those days when it was all limited, and it was a luxury to have a computer at your home, and if somebody has a laptop, that's called extra lavish. Those times I'm talking of. And now if you compare, most of us have a computer. If you ask your parents, they would say, we used to use the computer in our computer lab in the school. Not even schools would be having it. Yes, they would be talking in the textbook that this is a computer, this is called a computer screen, right? But will that textbook only help you? If I just keep teaching you from the textbook that this is a computer, this is a mouse, this is a keyboard, this is the alphabet key, this is a number key, this is the command. Even today when your teachers ask you to do work, if they just help you write a command, right? Write this command, and the result of this command would be something like this on the screen, but we cannot ask you to do it on the computer. Then you will be very inquisitive about whether she's telling the truth or not. Can the textbook be always right? Will there be a mistake in the textbook? So what do teachers do? They ask you to write a command, a particular command, and then they ask you to actually perform the command in the computer, so that you can see for yourself whether the command works or not. Similarly, you got a nice degree, you got good marks, but how do you prove it? You prove it with the help of real life examples that you have done. Now when you're talking of examples, you are not supposed to talk of examples in general. I am of a very helpful nature, madam, I have been always helping my friends. That's very generalized. You are supposed to be very customized. As I said, you cannot have the same resume for every interview that you take. You have to tailor make it. Okay, you have to customize it. Similarly, examples also you have to customize. You cannot have a generalized idea. So how do you customize it? You don't take everybody's name, right? You don't take everybody's name. You say that once in our class there was this student, or there was this one of my friends, very good person, very intelligent one, but due to some misfortune that happened in his life or in his family, he was unable to complete his project. I could not see him suffering. He has been helping me a lot. So what I did is, after I completed my project, I started helping him with his project. So though you can see that my interest lies in designing games, but I'm also interested in graphic designing or website designing, because I helped him in his project which was related to website designing. Just a basic example which I'm giving. Be very particular, be customized. You cannot say I helped 2 3 people in the class, I don't remember when, but be to the point. That is what they mean to say when they say you should be giving examples. Next, the employer. When you are interested in picking up a job, let's say almost everyone of you would be having a dream job or a dream business. I'm taking both the words. Okay, dream job and dream business. You want to set up a business of your own, or you want to work with some company. It's called your dream job or a dream company, right? Now, you sometimes we might be fortunate enough to start with our dream company, sometimes we might have to struggle with it. So how do I tell the employer that I'm really interested in your organization? The answer is research. Research, research, research. Why? Let's say if I'm applying to Marwadi University and I don't know what kind of work the university expects, or what kind of job am I supposed to do, right? uh, I don't even know how many branches the university is offering for educating yourself. Now that's a big no no. You should know what kind of things or what kind of fields the company is working in, what kind of job offers the company gives to candidates. You must also research for your benefit, not only for the company's benefit but for your benefit. Will you be able to survive in that situation? Let's say Marwari University, across the board they have so many different courses, not only engineering. Within engineering they have so many branches, degree, diploma, and then it splits further. After that they have business management, the faculty of business management. Then they have a faculty of computer application, they have a faculty of architecture, they have a faculty of physiotherapy, they have a faculty of pharmacy, right? They have faculty of science. Now within every education branch they have sub branches, like the way you have computer engineering, IT engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, etc. Similarly, it could be a BBA, BCom, BBA honors, MBA, MCom, dual degree, integrated program, etc. Right? I should be well aware of the kind of things that a company is doing, the kind of collaboration it has made, the number of branches it has. Branches, I mean to say, one branch in Rajkot, one branch in some other state, etc. Why? You should be able to give a convincing reason for joining the company. Let's say you want to join Reliance, not Reliance. Let's say for your branch, I think TCS. TCS is one company that is exclusively your branch company, right? You want to join TCS. TC has TCS has branches across the country. Okay. Now see, most of us we have a preferred place to live. Okay, live in comfort, our comfort zone. Now you want to work in the company, but you might have to leave your comfort zone. Now the company might have a query. Okay, you want to shift from Rajkot to Bangalore. Will you be comfortable? It's a 360-degree kind of a change. The language is different, the atmosphere is different, the way of living is different, the food is different. You might not even know anybody there. If you have a family, well and good, but you might not know people there. What will you do? And there maybe they have a trend of working till Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a holiday. What do you do in that case? Now if you're shifting from place 1 to 2, you might have to find yourself a residential area as well. Are you ready to do it? What would be your reason to join that particular company? Try to align your vision and mission with the vision and mission of that company. When you try and align it and you find an alignment, then and then you should join that particular company. And the company wants to develop games and you want to develop websites, or you want to develop educational applications, the alignment is not there. How will the alignment come? You want to develop educational applications but in a fun way, having some game element in it, then you align it. That's an alignment. Okay, so you need to know the company well. Next, preparing for the interview. There are four ways of preparing for the interview. First is the situational knowledge. Situational knowledge is where and when is the interview going to take place, and you should arrive well before time of the interview. Now, let me give you an example where and when. Why should I know where is the interview and when? It actually, let's say, from Rajkot city, we'll take Madhapur Chokri as an example. From Madhapur Chokri to Marwari University, it takes around approximately 15 to 20 minutes to travel. If now here comes the hard part. If there is not a traffic jam. Now, if you are stuck in a traffic jam, it might take you an hour to travel from the same place. Now, here, when you have to travel for your interview, you have to consider the worst situation. So, if I live somewhere near Madhapur Chokri, I would, I want to reach the college at 8:30. I leave at 8:15. But if it is an interview, I have to leave by 7:50 or at the max 8 o'clock. So I can cover up time. One thing. Two, where part. Why is it important? Let's say we'll take our university example because we are quite familiar with the university setup, you know there is wing A, wing B, and wing C. Right? We have got MA, MB, and MC. Now there's an addition of a law building which is LB, LALB. Okay, law building A wing, law building B wing, and then the floors. Now, because you and I are accustomed to this type of a setting, we will locate the location very easily. Now, if I tell you MA201, you know it is a corner class. It's a circular corner class. Okay. Because why? Because we have been accustomed to it. We have been there with the university for almost 1.5 years now. You have been. If there's somebody new, he or she might particularly get lost. What is LB? What is MA? What is MB? In case you give him or her a location such as MC, then the person is totally lost, right? Similarly, it's not necessary that you know the location. Every location is not going to be like this, or identification of the location is never going to be like this in each and every institute, right? So arrive early so that you have time to study it. Next, be physically prepared. By physical preparedness, we mean you should take high quality sleep. You should not look like somebody who has just woken up from his sleep and has come to give the interview. No, you should not look like that. You have to dress for success. When I say dress for success, it includes everything. Everything means entire grooming, from your hair to the accessories that you wear, to the perfume that you use, to the clothes that you wear, and the shoes that you wear. Right? I'm not saying expensive branded, I am saying formal. Next, your mental preparation. In the mental preparation part, you have to have little knowledge and research of the company. And the best way of dealing with an interview is facing mock interviews. You know, estimating what kind of questions can be asked and what could be the possible answers. Last, the written preparation. Here, it is inevitable to take extra copies of your resume and your cover letters. You should take extra copies with you. Moreover, you should have Xerox copies. You should also have handy a list, a printed copy of the references that you have mentioned. Do not forget the originals. You have to have the originals. Moreover, you should also be carrying extra passport size photographs in formal clothing. You should have few blank pages as well, and you should also have taken a mental note for asking question. Remember, communication is always a two-way process. It is not a one-way process. Communication is a two-way process. It's not a one-way process. So even in the interview, the rule remains the same. Communication in an interview is also a two-way process, and it's not only a single process. So how come it is two-way? Can the candidate ask questions? Yes, the candidate is supposed to ask questions. So what kind of questions that we will discuss, do not worry. But the candidate is supposed to ask questions, so you should be mentally ready to ask questions. Right? Now, even when you are preparing yourself in the written part, you are also supposed to arrange the documents in such a way that it does not take time. You have to arrange the documents in such a way that it does not take time for you to locate a particular document. Remember, this is actually the preparing for the interview. And the next topic that we have is the stages of the interview process. Okay, these are the two questions that you have to keep in mind: preparing for interviews and stages of the process. Remember, always I have told that whenever there is something related to workplace, it will have a structure. This is actually the structure of the interview, how the interview takes place. So stage 1 is called the icebreaker. Stage 1 is called the icebreaker. Here you will have your greetings, small introductions, and first impressions happen here in the icebreaker stage. Stage 2 is personal qualifications and interest in the position. Now, here you are not just going to talk about your educational qualification, but the skills and actual work that you have done in the field. So here you are supposed to focus more on the projects that you have done, the participation that you have done in technical events where you were able to prove your educational qualification, and the goals that you have in life. What is your goal? You want to become a web developer, you want to become a game developer, you want to become a graphic designer, or whatever you have thought of. The next step is the organization and the position. Now what will happen over here is to see whether you are interested in the company or not, to see whether you are interested in the company or not. They'll try to ask you these questions. They'll try to ask you these questions. These are some of the samples. So why do you want to work for our company? Why should we hire you? Or what do you know about the department in which you are working, or which you are going with, for which you have applied to work? Right. Moreover, certain other general questions would be, what is your geographic preference? Right. What is your geographic preference? Here he means to say, are you ready to relocate or not? In case we don't give you a job in our Rajkot office branch and we give it to you in the Ahmedabad branch, are you ready to go? Okay, that is why this question comes over here. So you should be aware about the position and the kind of work that you are supposed to do in that particular position, your job profile. Next, the candidate questions. As I said, communication is a two-way process. Even if it is an interview, it has to be a two-way process. That is why this is the chance where you can ask questions. Usually, the candidate question section comes towards the very end of the interview. The candidate question section comes to the very end of it. Now, remember here, now we become excited that I am supposed to, or I am given a chance to ask a question. What should I ask? Should I ask about the salary? No, it's a big no. Should never ask about the salary in your interview, because salary negotiation is an entire different process. Salary negotiation is an entire different process. You cannot ask it in the interview itself. When can you ask about your salary and negotiate about your salary? Once they tell you that yes, we are hiring you for the job, then and then you can talk about salary. Here they are not hiring you. Here they are trying to find whether they can hire you or not. So what kind of questions can you ask over here then? No, madam said we can ask questions. So what kind of questions should you ask over here then in this case? Now, in this case, the kind of questions that you can ask is, what is your job nature like? So, are you going to do a desk work, or will you be allowed to do some work in the field? Are you going to stay in the office, or will you have to travel to some other places, etc.? Some jobs have this traveling things as well. You have to travel once in a while to some other place to promote your job, promote your product, etc. So, what are you doing? Is what you are supposed to ask over here, right? As a candidate question. Then there is a close and follow up. There is a close and follow up. Now, it's similar to the conclusions that we do. It's similar to the conclusions that we do in our any other things like public speaking, group discussion, etc. Right here, the interviewer thanks for, or you thank the interviewer for giving the time. Your performance would be evaluated, and please mark the last one as a very important thing. Not the interviewee but the interviewer. The interviewer is supposed to send a thank you note within 24 hours. Why? Thank you for giving the interview. We'll be considering your interview and we'll be replying within 15 days. How do I know when will I get the result? I cannot be waiting for eternity. Okay, I cannot be waiting for eternity. Like, I need to know, right, when will they give me an answer? If I want to apply for some other job, I want to know when will they reply. Should I wait for them or should I apply elsewhere? So this thank you note actually is an update that they give to you, that will be giving an update to you within 24 hours, will be giving an update to you within 35 days, 45 days, whatever the number. right? They should be giving you some information about it. So the thank you note is a must send, and that also within 24 hours. You cannot wait 3 4 days and then give a thank you note. Okay. Now, what are the tips for successful interviewing? Think like an employer and don't think like an employee. Think like an employer and don't think like an employee. Don't criticize the past employers. Why? Because then your nature will be judged as somebody who is criticizing. Never speak ill or negative about the past employer. Yes, if you have to say or speak something, you may talk it in a tactful manner, but never say that this person was bad, that person was bad. I did not want to work with them for one reason, two reason, three reason. Don't do that, because that will be taken as your nature of complaining all the time. Be aware of illegal questions. When I say illegal question, there would be certain questions that would be controversial in nature. Be aware about it. Be aware that they are trying to ask you something like this, right? Think about it and be aware. Maintain professionalism even if the employer does not. What do I mean over here? I mean to say, he cannot be asking you a question such as, does anybody in your family own a business? Okay, then you say, yes, sir, some of our relatives do own a business. So why are you applying to some company outside, and why don't you go and join the business there? See, now this is becoming personal. The interviewer has nothing to do with how many businesses your family is running. If your family, even if your father is running a business and you don't want to join this business, is none of the reasons for any other person to ask you about it. So now this is becoming a little personal. Now you have to come back to professionalism. You cannot be keep on answering this question. So how do you become professional? You would say, sir, they are far relatives, distant relatives, and I'm much interested in this area of work which they don't have. And that's the end of it. You don't elaborate, okay, because I gave an interview with my relative, but my relative does not want me to work there. When my father is reluctant about it, this and that, and that's why I have come. See, that becomes a very personal talk that moves away from being professional. Being professional means you are not supposed to inquire about what business my family runs. You are not supposed to inquire about how many of my relatives hold a business, on where are they, and why am I joining your company and not my business. Right? So try and drag the conversation back to a professional level. Don't go unprofessional. Do not personalize things. They're not asking you, or they're not supposed to ask you about such things. Be prepared for the unexpected. Be prepared for the unexpected. Every time you cannot prepare for the entire interview. You might have heard from your senior friends or friends in the higher semester as well, right? You might not be asked any question that you prepared for, and you might be asked many questions for which you have never prepared. So always mentally be prepared that they might ask a question for which you have not prepared. There might be something unexpected that comes, right? So with that, you'll have a mental preparation, and it will not come as a shock to you. It will not come as a shock to you when they ask something out of the blue. Okay. Next, be aware of the kind of body language that you display in the interview. Be aware of your body language. You have to be very careful and be well groomed, nicely cut hair, etc. Well, grooming should be there. Remember, interview is a two-way process. As I said, that it is mandatory for you to ask the question. If you are interested, you should ask a question. By asking a question, you are showing that you are already interested in the position, right? So what kind of work will I be assigned? Do you have systems of appraisal, or do you have a way of working. What are the working hours? Am I working under somebody? Am I supposed to work in a team, etc.? Right? Never ever give answers in yes and no. If they ask you a question such as, are you interested in doing a job with us? Just don't say yes and keep quiet. Why? Yes, of course you are interested. That is why you are there in the interview. Their meaning over here, when they ask you the question, is not to hear a yes and no, but hear the proper reason why you are with them. Now, I've heard a lot about your company, or I've seen people progress in your company, etc. is what you may answer. Now, we'll come to the answering part as well. Listen carefully and then only react. Listen carefully. Listening carefully, it means let the person complete the question. Some of us are so excited about the interview, or when we listen to a few words in the question, we start answering it. So it's quite rude to interrupt somebody and answer in between. Okay, it's quite rude to interrupt somebody and answer in between. So what do? You have to listen. You have to let the people complete the sentence. Moreover, remember, if you do not understand the question that has been asked, always ask again. Always ask again. You may say, pardon me, I did not get the question. Can you please repeat it? Right? Be humble enough to ask. Do not stay in the frame that you understood what she is asking or he is asking. Next, the interview begins the moment you knock the door. Remember, in unit 1, we have been talking about your body starting to speak before you speaking. Right? Before you start speaking, your body starts speaking. So the body language you do, it is the way you knock the door, the way you open the door, the way you let it go after you step in the room, the way you pull your chair to sit, and the way you pull your chair back towards the table. You know, everything will be noticed. They are there to notice everything. So it starts before they ask you to introduce and you have the greetings and everything. It starts the moment you knock. Right? Always carry a positive aura with you. Always carry a positive aura with you. Why? Positivity. See, you, when you are applying for a job, it's the next step. If you fail, you don't go down to step 1. You are just on the same step. You don't just go up. That's the only thing that happens. Yes, you will improvise in terms of the second interview. Why? Because you got an experience. So be positive about things that you got a chance, you got a first hand experience of the interview. Okay. Is a reconnector. The candidate should not maintain professionalism if the employer does not. What do you think should be the answer? Excellent. You've been paying good attention and I suppose you have been taking good notes. The answer is false. As I said, even if the employer tries to drag you into a personal talk, do not do it. Maintain professional decorum over there. Now, these are a few things that you can do, or a few steps that may help you remember it easily. Dress appropriately for the interview, arrive in good time, have proper body language, expect the unexpected, and also do not forget towards the end when they ask you, do you have anything to ask or you want to ask us something? Do ask questions. Do ask relevant questions. Now, these are the do's and don'ts of an interview. We have been going through them throughout the discussion of the PPT. I'll give you a few minutes to read this. I'll not be explaining this over and over. It's just written in a tabular form so that what happens is you may have a good idea about it and you have a good look at it. So I'm giving you 2-3 minutes to have a look at it. Okay, a very good question by Gaurav. Uh, See, Gaurav, it will not always happen based on how you behave all the time. Okay, because just by observing somebody, what happens is you may get a little idea about the person, but you do not, or you are not always selected by only these many things. They also give you a chance to speak, so don't worry about that part. I don't know about who your peers are and who had this idea that from the main gate. Now it's very practically, they might not be able to see you from the main gate, but they'll be able to see you, or the way you behave in the group discussion, from there the way you enter, and then things go on. Okay, so they ask you questions, do not worry, they'll be asking you questions. Right, I hope you have read the do's and don'ts. These are a little few references that I have taken for this particular topic. Right, this will be available in the e-content. I'll be uploading the PPT for your reference. Do we have any other questions apart from what Gaurav asked? Do we have any questions apart from what is asked? Fine. So what we'll do is we'll first finish our quiz for this lecture, and then we have to work on the Google Drive as well. So let me do one thing. I'll first give you the link for our quiz for today. So here you go. This is the link for our quiz for today. We may complete the quiz, and then I'll instruct you about the next step for it. Okay. So you may attempt your quiz now. Very good. That was quick and fast, right? So all of you have completed the quiz. I have already had a look at it. Now, what you are supposed to do? The task for today. So the task for today is, now if you go to your shared Google folder, now we've been using it a lot. lab batch B, and within lab batch B, now you can see within lab batch B, now you can see one more subfolder which is called interview skills. Now in that I've already created a spreadsheet or an Excel sheet which says interview panel. Now this lab batch we are 21 students. Okay, in this lab batch there are 21 students. So you are supposed to form a group of 3. Now if you open the interview panel named sheet, in sheet 1 there are two sheets that are there. So first we are supposed to work in sheet number 1. So what you do is you are supposed to divide yourself into groups of 3. I've already made the panel numbers. See, it does not make a difference. Panel 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. How it has gone. Here you have your panel numbers and students. It's just for sequencing purpose, the panel numbers. You are supposed to divide yourself into groups of 3, right? So 3 students in each group. So quickly do that. I'm giving you 10 minutes of time to divide yourself into groups of 3. First you do that. Then we'll talk about the second step. Okay, I see now that the groups are already made. Now, if you look at the slide, or if you look at the spreadsheet, there is one sheet one you are working right now. Now you have to go to sheet two. Now, what you are supposed to do in sheet two is, remember, we are going to do a mock interview in our lab session. As I said, some of you might have a question or a query that, madam, we might be doing our own business. We might not be joining somebody's job. So even if you do a business, you might need employees, right? For that reason, I'm trying to give you an experience from both the sides of the table. Now, why are we forming this panel? These are the panelists. This panelist would be taking a mock interview in the lab session of a few students allocated to them. Right? Every panel will be given 3 students, because there are 7 panels, 21 people, so 3 people at a time. So you will be a part of the panel who will be asking the question, and you will also be a candidate who will be answering the question. Now, what will we do is, the first thing that we need to do is, every panel, because there are 3 members in a panel, each panel has to draft in sheet number 2. You have to draft a set of 6 questions, and what would be the possible answer that you are expecting from the candidate. Now, why are we doing this small activity is, we're trying to find out the best possible answers for the same kind of question. Let's say one question which is fixed for every interview that you appear for is, introduce yourself. So in how many different ways can you ask the same question? Now, if all 6 of you have the same question, that question is a common one, right? It has to be there. So introduce yourself, tell me something about yourself, or any other way of formulating it. Because there are 3 members, one member has to at least contribute 2 questions. And if you are answering it, how will you answer it? And that's how I have divided work. I do not mind if one member writes all the questions and the other 2 members devise that will be answering the question. Whatever is feasible in your case, or whatever you find comfortable, it is fine. But for uniformity, what I am trying to do is, member number one asks 2 questions, or writes 2 questions, and writes the answer of the 2 questions as well. Right? So one member, 2 questions. That is why 3 members in a panel, 3 members in a panel, and 6 questions. Now remember, I have also given you. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, because most of us are. Okay, fine. Yeah, here. So let's say here. Okay, I'm not able to edit the file because most of us are within that file. That's a problem with the net. So what I'll do is, let's say in the panel number, I write 1. SR number 1, panel number 1. The first question is, introduce yourself. So you please consider this as a row. I am doing it in the chat box. I'm not able to edit my um, spreadsheet because they're saying there is a heavy traffic on this file. So that maybe because all of us are logged into it, I'm not able to. So I have a question like, introduce yourself. So what will I write as an answer? Model answer, I'll write, my name is. This could be one possible answer. So wherever there is a dash, the student has to insert his or her name. So if I'm asking somebody to introduce yourself, I might say that my name is Pooja Shukla. I have completed bachelor's in computer engineering. I'm passionate about web designing, and that is what I have worked on for my final year project. This could be one answer, right? Now, if group two feels that the answer should be a little different, you should write the question again, your group number or your panel number, the question, and what would you think as an answer, or what would you take as an answer. Okay, so this is what you are supposed to do. This is one question. There could be many other questions. You are supposed to think from the view of the employer. This is the one who's going to take an interview. If you are taking an interview you for your company, what would be 5 or 6 questions that you would like to ask to a candidate? Okay, this way we are trying to not only help you right away, but also help you prepare for your interview in the future as well, right? So if we have gone through it practically, it will help you at that time. So this is what the activity that we wish to do is: first we need to gather questions and possible answers, and then we'll be doing a mock interview as well. So right now your duty is, what you are supposed to do is, you are supposed to draft a few questions and answers, at least 6. Right away you start drafting, so I can see how much of work is done, right? If you don't finish within the stipulated time, it is absolutely fine. We may complete the work by 4:30 today. We may complete the work by 4:30 today, right? So I hope you have understood. You don't have any queries what you are supposed to do. A yes and no would help me. Okay, we are clear, right? Not only one question, but as many as questions you think. 6 is a minimum number that I'm giving, but if you have some inquisitiveness, like, madam, this is a question my seniors have told me, or my friends in the higher semester told me, and I really don't know how to answer it. So at least frame the question there. What we'll do is, in the same interview panel file, you'll see sheet 2, where you have made your panel. I think because there is heavy traffic on the page, that's what the Google is saying, though that's why I don't think we might be able to do it right away. You have to write these questions in sheet number 2. What's happening is, even the file is not opening over here in my case as well. You have to do it in sheet number 2. I've already created a table. I've written the SR numbers, serial number I've written. Panel number you have to write. It could be, right, question 1 panel 1 has written, question 3 panel 6 has written, does not make a difference what is the number. I just want to know, to make uniformity in the work, I have written the panel number as well. So I want 6 questions from each panel. So we would have a nice little collection of almost, because there are 7 panels, so almost 42 questions. Even if 12-15 questions are repeated, we'll know how to answer it in 2-3 different ways. The same question, how to answer it differently. So we're trying to create a repository of the same. I hope I'm clear, right? I think it is called sheet 2, where like at the bottom. Okay, at the bottom of the spreadsheet, it's written sheet 1, sheet 2. So you have to do it in sheet 2. And because there is some problem with the number of people operating on the same file, that's why it's creating an issue, and even I'm not able to open it. So don't worry. By 6 today evening you can do it. That should be enough time. By 6 today evening you can do it. If it is not opening at the present moment, you complete the work by 6. But you have understood what you are supposed to do, right? Fine. So what we'll do is, we'll end over here on this note. I just take your attendance. Just give me a moment. And please do not forget, next week in the next lab, we are compulsorily supposed to do our group discussion. So we are supposed to complete our group discussion. You go back to the topics you have not prepared. Please talk to people, prepare about it. And I hope you remember for our subject, unit number 1 is the syllabus for your mid-sem 1 exam. Unit 1. Because it's only one unit, remember it would be more detailed in nature. So please go through the PPTs. If you are facing any kind of problem, please ask me. Don't ask me on the day of the exam. When I say you have to ask me a question, you have to do it way beforehand. Okay. And also along with that, remember we have a unit 3 test, because this is the last topic in unit 3, and we have a unit 3 test on Tuesday when our lecture comes. We don't have a lecture now on Monday, right? So attendance, enrollment number 47,
Present, ma'am.
49, 50,
Yes, ma'am.
51, 53,
Yes, ma'am.
54,
Yes.
56,
Yes,
58,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
65,
Yes, ma'am.
67,
Yes, ma'am.
68,
Yes, ma'am.
69,
Yes, ma'am.
72,
Yes, ma'am.
73,
Yes, ma'am.
82,
Yes, ma'am.
85,
Yes, ma'am.
89,
Present, ma'am.
91,
Present, ma'am.
96,
Yes, ma'am.
100, 101. Okay, Gaurav, I think, was present. So I've marked him as present. And in case, I've taken your attendance, Gaurav. In case you have any queries and doubts related to mid semester or the task that has been assigned to you, uh, please do not hesitate to ask me how things are going. Okay, do not hesitate for asking. Secondly, I have not yet circulated the the book review schedule. Remember, the only reason is because the mid semester has come along, so I have to reschedule it. The document was present, but the mid semester exams were declared. So don't worry. Actually am keeping a watch on what things are happening, and I'm trying to adjust in that way. Right? I've not forgotten that I'm supposed to take the book review. Remember that I've not forgotten it, but because of the mid semester coming, I'm trying to rearrange and reschedule things. I'll be telling you way beforehand. Do not worry. You keep working on your stuff and you keep uploading. In the background, this work should keep on going on. Okay. I've not seen people uploading things. I'm keeping a watch on everything. Remember, I'm keeping an eye on everything, but I understand you have a lot of things to do. Plus, you are adults. So I don't have to remind you every now and then that you do this, you do that. I've instructed you. You remember well. If you can't remember, please buy yourself some almonds, have almonds, sharpen your memory, and then remember, and then upload things. Okay? Fine. So we are closing the session, the lab on this note. You have time till 6:30 to complete, time till 6 to complete the work that has been assigned to you. Thank you, class. Have a very nice day.